Yo guys, Coach Theo here on Common Sense. The one person that's been brought up to me the most by far in YouTube comments, on live streams, in direct messages and so on, pretty much always, I think, honestly, but especially this last year, since the channel got quite a bit bigger, is the YouTuber known as the Golden One, Marcus Folin, a countryman of mine, another fellow Swede, another fellow jacked and based Swede, I should say. And so today we finally met, and I'm giving you guys that collab video you've been waiting for. Psych, not quite yet. Today's meeting was more about planting the seed for future collaborations. We didn't have all that much time, so we focused on getting to know each other on a personal level. And so I did have time to take a little bit of footage when we hit a mini calisthenics workout. And so this video is mainly about, well, a little bit of fan service. You know, I know that people just enjoy seeing people they've been follow, the sort of crossover, just seeing the people together, right? I'm going to talk a bit about what kinds of collaborations are on the table. I'm going to ask for you guys' input a little bit on what you'd like to see. Of course, having Marcus on Human Beings, my podcast, is an obvious choice for a collab. So maybe you guys can drop down below in the comments what you'd like us to talk about, questions you think I should ask him, and so on. And so for me, this meeting was just as much like a business work thing, as in doing a collab on YouTube and looking for other ways we possibly can cooperate on a professional level, right? Just as much as it was just networking on a personal level. So I want to talk a little bit about that later as well. But I do find it quite interesting that Marcus is the person that it's like it's not even close. His name, I've seen it, especially this last year, I've seen it so much, I've gotten sick of it at times, not because I don't like him, but it's like, yes, I do know the Golden One, okay, yes, I could be his little brother, yeah, you know, but I guess, you know, we are both blonde, Swedish, jacked men. I guess we do videos in a similar style. I guess what's interesting to me is that I've been so apolitical in my content. Like, I will share my views and values, but I don't really focus much on that kind of thing, which he does focus more on, right? But I guess it makes sense still. What I also find interesting is that just as a bunch of you guys will love this, I'm sure there's gonna be quite a few that hate it. You know, when I just posted a picture from our meet today on Instagram, I got mainly people that were all excited, but of course I got a few like, why are you you're a good person, why are you meeting someone that's like a homophobe and misogynist and racist? And I, of course, you know, with love, I had to tell them that I don't take those words seriously. I think that's silly. No one is either good or bad. I don't give any credit to those kinds of words. Even though I'm more apolitical, our views, our values and worldview are quite similar. And if you have a problem with that, you can go cry somewhere in a safe space. And you know, some of the guys, they took it well, so you know, no offense. But it's just interesting with me that I'm so uniquely and fully myself that I cannot be placed into like I don't know, one side, one group. So many people that like me and follow me, they kind of project everything they're into on me. I'm gonna be able to trigger people all over the place. You know, I have right-wing people being triggered that I'm too liberal or something. I have more, I would say, though, left-wingers that would think I'm also the conservative bigot or whatever made-up terms they would like to put on me. No, but so I just find that part kind of funny. No, but I definitely, since I have a background focusing, that I talk about quite often, that I used to be way too into politics and the news, you know, the sort of black-pilled, incel-like person. I talk about that, how you don't necessarily have to be a literal incel, like I wasn't, but a certain mentality. And just, you know, following the news, having sort of a raging at the news and the world and the state of things as an addiction, and thinking that this somehow is worth something, you know, that because you have all the cool and based opinions, you're good, you know, but you're not really doing shit about any of this. I tend to criticize that kind of person quite a bit, but it doesn't really mean that I like all the views that kind of person would express, that I don't agree with them at all. And I guess what I like about Marcus is that he focuses more on politics and following the news and stuff than I do. But to me, he gives a very, I would say the Swedish word would be sansad. That, he takes some positions that lots of people will, put these disgusting, nasty labels like racist, etc. on, words that are only meant to attack someone's character. No one ever identifies with these words. It's to not even have to make up an argument. No one made any arguments that had a problem that I met him today. They just said all these words, right? I think it's disgusting tactics. And I don't see any hate in this man. I see whatever views he holds are completely because that's how he sees things. That's the truth he sees. And you can have conservative stances on things, or more traditional, whatever you want to call it. You can be critical of the absolutely insane immigration situation we've had in Sweden without just arbitrarily hating anyone that isn't like white and blonde and blue-eyed, right? But this is of course too complicated of a thought for a lot of people to hold in their head. So my point is just here that I don't think there's anything wrong about following politics or reporting on that, but also as far as doing that thing goes, I think Marcus really does it in the best sort of way. No, but today we just got to know each other. I came to him. He lives in a town north of Stockholm. It's not too long for me to travel. We went on a walk, told each other our origin stories, talked training, just got to know each other like that. And we hit a little mini workout in an outdoor gym there. And of course, the possible collab, the first option is obviously, again, to have him guest my podcast. And I'd very much like to hear, again, what you guys want us to talk about. If there are things you'd like me to ask him about and so on, please hit me up in the comments below. I was also invited to a sort of workout that he organizes. That's a bit of a social workout, of course working out is working out, but getting together and lifting heavy and shooting the shit basically. And there's probably a possibility for us to take some content of that there, just some feel good lifting content, but maybe we can get some speaking stuff in there as well. But that's kind of what's on the menu right now. If there are any cool ideas that you have, like of course I'd love to hear any idea, but it's just not for certain that we could act on each of them. But please let me know any thoughts or ideas you may have in the comments. And the last thing I'll say just about networking is, again, since that's something I've been talking about this year, especially in my content, about the tendency some of us can have to be hyper independent. It is a sort of a trauma response from childhood. If you felt like you couldn't rely on other people and it's best that I just do things for myself, that can be sort of a mechanism that you develop that can be great in many ways, that you can do a lot for yourself, but you can also end up isolated for no good reason at times. But especially, even without having a certain trait like that, in these times, when people are generally more disconnected from each other, all the screens, all the working from home, all the weirdness people are affected by from watching all these screens, especially if you're someone that finds yourself a bit outside of the norm with all of this, sees the craziness of society more. If you wish for friends or knowing more like-minded people, for most of us, we're not that lucky that we just happen to have them close to us, or that the people we went to school with, we just were like that and we keep hanging out with them forever. No, we're actually going to have to go out of our way to connect with people. And Marcus is not the only one I've done this with. Like I said, this is of course kind of both, that we can both do possibly some kind of professional collab, but actually a part of it is just like, well, he's not too far away. We see eye to eye on many things that, well, many other people don't. We need to connect and unite like this. Too many men, good men, are like islands, So I guess I just wanted to take the opportunity to encourage you to do such a thing. I have done this with more people recently. Just try to reach out. It doesn't have to be someone with a social media following. It can be someone that is on social media, that's how we reach out. that's someone in your like fringe circle that you don't really know, but just take a step to try to get to know them. Guys, stuff in this life, it doesn't just get handed to you. Definitely not like-minded friends, especially in a time like this. So I guess that's just what I'd like to encourage you to hear at the end. But yeah, guys, there you go. Finally met the golden one. Finally have a video to refer to if someone misses it, then ask me again. Some other stuff most likely coming up in the not too far future, and I'd love to hear you guys' ideas and input on that as well. Alright guys, take care, like and comment, peace.
Ska jag pausa eller vill du? Ja, du kan stänga av när du vill. Så. Visst.